Previously on Samurai Jack. The aged samurai of legend wanders the landscape of the future he once strived to escape from, barely recognized by those he saves. He hallucinates the people of his past, haunting him to no end, screaming at him for losing his purpose and never returning to the past to destroy Aku, who has not been seen since the 4th season of the original show. His devoted cultists, however, plan to create the perfect assassins, leagues above the cannon fodder Jack has slain a dozen times over. That doesn't stop people like the Pied Piper of Chaos Scaramouche from trying to claim the bounty on the samurai's head, only to get their own cut off. Regardless, the assassins now seek to finally kill their enemy with the utmost discrimination and efficiency. We begin 93 with quite a surprising introduction, as we finally get to see Aku, who appears to have fallen into a state of melancholy. The Shogun of Sorrow seems to just go through the motions, not even cackling like his old self at the sight of insignificant fools groveling before him with meager tributes to their master. He doesn't even care about the upgrades made to his iconic Beetlebots, putting on quite a show about no longer caring about his ancient foe, Samurai Jack. Nothing could be further from the truth, however, as he literally talks to himself about his problem. Samurai Jack has not aged in over 50 years, and thus has not died. Oh sure, Aku has destroyed all of the time portals, but his enemy still remains to cause the Master of Misery an overwhelming amount of grief. The scene ends with Aku wondering if there is anyone out there who can dispose of his problem, having no idea that his question may be answered sooner than he realizes. We are then given the beautiful imagery of a lone, white wolf traversing a forest in autumn, making his way to an unknown destination. The journey of the wolf runs parallel to Jack's, as they both travel similar paths, until they encounter a dead end, where they are forced to fight more powerful predators. Jack must first fight one of the new Beetlebots, which proves to be far too easy of a task in spite of the robot's immense size. But the robot is not his challenge. No, his true challenge comes in the form of the Daughters of Aku, who rush at the samurai and disappear just as fast as they attack. They tear away at his armor and dismantle his weapons, much like the wolf is nearly torn apart in a gruesome manner by its hunters. Jack has no choice but to hide in the scrap metal left behind by the now dismantled Beetlebot. As Jack sits in the rubble searching for a way to win, an interesting and disturbing scene unfolds. Much like earlier with Aku, Jack now talks to himself about the situation as a whole. An angry version of the samurai we knew and loved berates himself for losing the magic sword, the one thing that could defeat Aku and his forces, and prolonging this quest. The bearded warrior retaliates by reminding himself that Aku does not know about the sword being lost, hence why he has never come down in person to fight. Aku has only used robots to fight the samurai up until this point. The inner Jack dismisses this by pointing out that there is no way back to the past now, and that his quest has no meaning anymore. There is only one thing left to do. The only honorable thing left to do. End it. In the shadows outside, a familiar figure on a horseback stands tall in front of a lonely tower, waiting in the distance. Jack, in spite of himself, claims that he will make it to the tower and seek sanctuary there. This is where the height of the episode begins, with Jack being introduced to the Daughters of Aku in a horrifying method. With not a single word of dialogue shared between them, the assassins chase the samurai silently through the rain and into the ruins of what I can only assume to be an ancient society mostly comprised of warriors. Both Jack and the daughters hide in the shadows, with the former trying to escape his hunters, and the latter waiting to ambush their target in a variety of ways. From hiding in the roots of a tree or waiting in a nearby pool of water, the sisters know how to hide and wait for their long-awaited prey, who eventually attempts to escape through the ruins until he is inevitably discovered. As Jack tries to survive these attacks, he soon takes refuge in a macabre throne room full of coffins, with a deceased warrior king sitting on his throne. This scene is dripping with tension, as not a sound is heard except for a soundtrack that sounds both threatening and beautiful, while the assassins walk through the graves to find the samurai, who has hidden himself in one of the coffins. The tactic does not keep Jack safe for very long, as the daughters inevitably find him, smashing the coffin open, and forcing Jack to fight using the weapons the deceased warriors were buried with, before he eventually flees, with one of the assassins hot on his trail. This assassin catches up and attacks Jack, only to have her mask broken off, and her neck slit open by her very own weapon. This leaves Jack horrified, as he now realizes he is fighting something he has never encountered before. Human warriors who are faster, stronger, and more ruthless than him. The samurai cannot dwell on this long, however, as the former assassin left a dagger in his side, causing him to lose quite a bit of blood. Jack must escape. He retrieves the dagger of Scaramouche from the assassin, who stole it earlier, and slashes it against the walls of the tomb. This causes the vibration in the walls to increase until detonation, trapping the remaining assassins, while Jack is flung into a nearby river. He is rendered unconscious, floating down a blood-stained river. The wolf has beaten his foes, but he himself is bloodied, broken, and dying. Once again, we are given a fantastic episode drenched with atmosphere and tension as we see just how close Jack is to giving up and how brutal his new opponents have become. Not to mention, we have now finally seen a coup after so long, now voiced by Greg Baldwin, who does a decent impression of the late Mako Iwamatsu. The imagery and music of this episode was absolutely beautiful, and the conversations the protagonist has with himself is insightful as to what this iconic character thinks about his current situation, encountering some suicidal thoughts which take center stage. As usual, I look forward to more new episodes, as this episode ended at the point where I wanted more. But, like everyone else, I will need to wait until this upcoming Saturday at 11 p.m. on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim. This has been Rambles and Mumbles of a Nerd, and I thank you for watching this episode.